Game 2 of this Winner Stays On series between Hera and B. Currently 1-0 to Hera, who is spawning in blue on the east side of the map, playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Now, this is the Winner Stays On series where you win, you get to play the next week, and you also win $500. Hera on a win streak so far of 4, where he's won $2,000 and now playing to go $2,500. So a lot at stake for him, especially as there are huge cash bonuses when you manage to hang on. All right, let's take a little look at 3DB now as we reveal the map. Playing in red as China on Hillendale. So he's already back there. The mill goes up. Possibly looking to train an Imperial official soon, but we'll take a little look at that soon. And he will be the challenger, currently 0-1 down. Beasty, we were chatting before a little bit about this matchup. We see quite a lot of China on Hillendale. We see quite a lot of HRE on Hillendale. Both pretty meta civs on this map. What are you expecting to see in the early game from both players?
Well, they're just trying to collect some sheep, you know. Like I said, HRE will definitely go for super fast castle. I don't think there's much else you should be doing, especially if you pick HRE on this map, right? That's how this map is played with HRE, so that's something that Hera should strive for. And something that we should, you know, pay more attention to is what B is going to do in this one. So we'll see how that develops. I just want to say, I've played this map a lot. I have never seen smaller main bases than these ones. Both of the main bases are very small. Wow. Usually they're much bigger, and if you look at the middle of the map, it's actually huge. So that's something that's quite interesting to see.
Wow, that's an interesting note. They're like both these town centers are almost dangling off their cliff edges, and they've got very little room behind them. In fact, yeah, and quite interesting. I mean, it looks relatively reasonable in that they've both spawned that way, both with pretty even wood lines, one on each side of their town center. That's a good point. I've also don't think I've seen it quite as close as that. I'm just checking the.
Yeah, it's super small.
Wow, really.
That's interesting, but this it kind of creates for a more interesting gameplay in the middle, because usually it's very narrow in the middle, so putting one castle on like the middle of the map blocks off the whole middle part. But even if you put 2 castles, I think units can still sneak around and move around and so on and so forth. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see if it comes into play. Hera's going for Chapel right now. Interesting position for the chapel. The funny thing is he probably wants to put it a bit farther out, but that further out will be part of his wall because his TC is so close to the edge.
Wow, look at that. That's crazy.
That's pretty interesting. But if anyone out there is playing this map a lot and you meet a lot of HRE, pick Mongols in this map and just outrush them. That's what I started doing. It works great. They can never reach castle, and you just kill them before it starts. So say no to HRE and their relics on this map.
Beasty giving away his N4C strategy already there. Mongols coming on Hillendale. But yeah, although then again, that's an interesting, that's a really interesting anti-meta pick. You don't see very much Mongols on this map at all, but very interested to see if that becomes a little bit of a little bit more meta. Now let's take a little look at the generation of the relics, and they look pretty damn fair, which is good because obviously relics are very important for this match. And so it looks like we've got all of those relics lined up pretty evenly in the middle of the map, which is definitely good to see. So no player's going to get a huge advantage. Now we've got Scout here harassing the villager building the Barbican of the Sun, and that's a really nice looking spot for a Barbican of the Sun to me. On a very tight map, that's going to be very annoying for Hera to get around and deal with.
And just placing it forward defensively is going to prevent any early game shenanigans. Although Barbican is kind of like, it's either really good or it doesn't have much effect in the game. Because HRE, he will probably, like I said, rush castle. And by the time those castle units come, that Barbican will, pretty much not do a lot of damage to the units. But it's still a good defensive structure. It blocks off, it prevents scouting. It might draw some fire from the enemy, so it's always good to get it out there and help yourself defend a little bit. And we do see B going for stone. How many workers on food? He's got 8 on food, which is interesting. He's getting a lot of wood, and I think he should be moving some workers from the food onto the stone. Unless he plans to also get a Song Dynasty really, really quick, which might be the case.
So we'll see if we've got that Song Dynasty coming in soon. And as being noted, how nice to see these scouts without animation cancel. How nice to see these scouts not just rip through villages 100 miles an hour. Kind of beautiful looking at them operate exactly as they're supposed to. You know, slowly damaging villages, soon to be slowly taking down buildings. Very nice to see that change in effect. So congratulations, devs. Love to see that.
Wow, B is actually... He loves to play late game, but today he's just rushing. He's actually going horses with Imperial Officer in them, and he's going to tower rush again. He has stone mining, so he's going to get those towers up. He's going to upgrade them. And I'm not sure what his plan after that is, but I do hope he transitions to castle a bit earlier maybe this time. Oh, B is actually doing something really nice. He is scaring the deer away from the mill and then killing them so that Hera has look at those deer that die. They're so far away from the mill, and they're very inefficient now for Hera to actually be gathering from.
Wow, that was such a heads-up play there, and you went there so far, and I doubt Hera could have predicted that coming. So yeah, all of a sudden, not very much food around that mill. Not that that mill is going to be very useful now anyway, with the outpost going up right next to it. Scout does eventually go down there for B, but really nice looking position. And B taking advantage of this small base. The first to show like very big initiative here. And in any situation, having these outposts up in that placement is quite annoying. But in this very small base, all of a sudden, the room which Hera has to operate in is very, very small. So going to be interesting to see what he does here. He's really going to run out of places in which to gather from and operate from very, very quickly. Another outpost going up here, right next to the other mill of Hera. So Hera's about to be in a spot of bother. Then again, we said that in the last game, and it didn't quite transpire.
I think this one looks worse for Hera than the one before. He has no food mining gathering right now. He is not gathering any food. There's no food in his base except these berries that are getting tower rushed. And the only place he can go is north, but there's already a worker there. And if he throws down a tower there, Hera has to go into farm straight away. So again, this looks really bad for Hera. Now B needs to kind of transition from this correctly. Like at this point, he has 4 or 5 horsemen. If he makes more, he cannot do anything with them. Like he cannot go under TC and kill villagers. So he should take this and go castle or go second TC or transition into something else. Because now there's spears coming as well. So you don't want to be committing on the units that are right now slowly getting countered. But this tower rush right now is really, really good. And it's giving him really good advantage.
Wow, this is really, unlike the last one, very all-encompassing, very, very quickly. Towers absolutely everywhere. B's now got those horsemen. They're out and doing some damage as well. Only the one spear out there for Hera, so that's not going to last very long and do very much. And yeah, a little bit of trouble all of a sudden here. B's pop cap momentarily. There you go. Gets another house down nice and quickly. Taking a little quick look at the villager count. Got 31 villagers for B. Hera with the 23. So a big villager difference already. And yeah, maybe some problem here. Hera's now putting down an outpost of himself to try and counter this. But now these horsemen are starting to take down some houses. Hera, no danger of being pop capped himself. He's got plenty of space. Now he's pulling lots and lots of villagers out towards the outpost, but lots of horsemen about to get on top of those villages. Luckily, there's a town center quite nearby, but number of villagers might go down here from Hera. In fact, he's choosing to stay on. He really wants to take that outpost down enough that he's left the villagers there, and 3, 4, 5, or 6 villagers went down to horsemen during that huge impact on the eco. Well, he got the outpost down, but that was expensive.
Yeah, don't show worker count on stream. This is not...
Oh, well,
oh god.
This just became a not safe for work stream. Hera sitting on 15 villages at the 10-minute mark. That is very, very brutal.
There's an archery range inside Hera's base.
Oh no, B building the forward archery range. I don't even know we call that a proxy range or not, what that is, but it's very, very strong indeed. So the only problem with this one is that YouTube might demonetize because this has been some brutality. Hera in all sorts of pain right now. And what B wasn't able to pull off last time, I think he has this time. Is there any way back?
That tower was getting repaired for so long, by the way, in the north, while every unit was attacking it. And the thing is, he kills this tower, right? And it's like, oh, great. But there's no workers to now actually, you know, gather anything. And yeah, that's GG.
Wow. B getting himself straight back into that. A very accomplished performance. You kind of called it prior to this game that, you know, if you don't, it can happen. Rushes on this map. Fun enough, what you called, you know, as being a very effective strategy with the Mongols was effectively what B did, apart from with the Chinese.
You go. Yeah, now imagine with Mongols. It's even better.
Wow.
I mean, I think that, so for everyone watching, B doesn't play like this normally, right? Not that he never does it, but he doesn't play like this normally. I think the reason he's doing it is because Hera has a very specific style. And Hera's style is, I will get castle, and I will make knights. And I will outmultitask my opponent, and I will kill villagers. That is his playstyle. And both of these games that we've just seen, B tower rushed. So I wouldn't be surprised from this point on, because if he did this with Chinese, which by the way is a good tower rush civ, I wouldn't be surprised if B just does this every